I want to kind of focus a bit on finding deals and finding money. I think it's kind of the crux of what we do, really. If we find deals and we find money, then we kind of move forward. And, I'm always screaming at the team, how many more properties have we got? How many more properties have we got? Because I know that each new property is a new opportunity to create more cash flow and more profit. And without those further properties, we can't actually grow. We kind of just stagnate, a best case scenario. So I think each and every month, you should always have a goal of trying to add, 2 to 3 units per month, at the level that you're at right now. And, I wouldn't say that if I didn't think it was possible. And, I have achieved that whilst having a 60, 70 hour a week job. So I do feel like that's achievable. We need to be, doing what we're doing now, the sides we're at. I'm pushing the teams on both sides to be, trying to add a good number more each and every month, depending on where they're at, depending on what type of strategy we want them in. But really, on the kind of rental arbitrage type strategy, we want to be adding ideally 2 to 3 units a month to be, really making a dent in what we're doing. And if we can do that, then you'll not be a million miles away from probably, being able to retire yourself off and go full time in it, depending on your circumstances, obviously. But I have put a video in Kajabi on this tool. I don't know whether you have seen it yet or not, but I thought I'd just do another quick run over of it, because for me, this is worth, it's worth the investment. I can't even remember how much it is, but I know it's not fortunes. It is such a good tool. So effectively, every single morning, you just want to open your Mac up, run Pepper in the groups that you want it to run at. And as long as you've got it all set up correctly, that is going to prospect for you throughout the day. So if you're off to work or you're sat at your desk at work doing your other jobs, you can have this just running in the background, effectively prospecting landlords on your behalf, and then you want to be able to tag your conversations up and follow up, relentlessly. So I'll give you a quick snapshot of it. There is a full video on this in Kajabi if you search Pepper. So if you go to Facebook, open up your Facebook, but first and foremost, you need to go and get the Pepper Chrome extension, which is kind of here. And that there is a link in Kajabi to get that extension and start that off. So what we want to do is you download the Pepper extension. Then you want to go to groups where you think people are going to hang out. So if we go, landlord type. So if we want landlords, so we've got landlords. And then it is as simple as this. You literally go to members, and then you've got all these members in here. Now, based on how you then set up your Pepper tool, so within your dashboard, you can create different message templates. So when it actually connects somebody, so our rent-to-rent one's here. So it'll look for these keywords in people's profiles. So landlords, landlady, property developer, those are the type of people that we want to add as friends. And then once they accept our friend request, it'll then send them this, direct message. So I'm just very straightforward, want to shoot your DM. Would you be open to discussing a 8-year rent guarantee on any of your properties? Hope to hear back from you. Have an awesome day. So that then goes out automatically. So if we go back here and start Pepper, then you'll see you can choose landlord rent-to-rent prospecting. So that's my title. It'll only send up to 50 a day, because anything more than that will spam. And but out of 50 friend requests, you'd like to think if your profile's set up correctly, it looks engaging, they can see that you're in the property space, everything ticks the box, come back to that kind of trust brand marketing, they feel like they can trust you, then they'll probably accept your friend request. So let's say out of 50, you get 15 people accepted, that is then going to send 15 of those messages to those people. And then let's say 20% of them actually reply, then you're going to then get into a conversation in your Messenger conversation. So when you go back into your phone app, you go back into Messenger, all of a sudden you've got, you know, maybe 2, 3, 4 conversations in there to pick up on and try and, you know, take further forward. So if you're doing that every day, you're talking probably 25 to 30 conversations a week that are positive conversations, and naturally they're going to lead to data. All you literally do is click send friend request, and then what happens is little old Pepper comes and sits down here at the bottom of the screen and just kind of works her way through. So as you can see today, she's already added 14 out of 50 people, and then, you know, that she's just working away there in the background. So I will leave that on whilst we go through the rest of this, and then we'll maybe come and have a look. But it really is a fantastic tool, and I just think as a you know, anybody that's short for time, or even if you're not short for time, I just think it's an amazing way to just you know, find those target prospects that we need, and you just got to set it and forget it pretty much every day, and then the legwork comes in. There is another part to that tool where you can actually then tag up your messages in Messenger, and it will actually, you know, you can hot lead, you know, whatever, HMO lead, SA lead, by whatever you want to, you can tag them up, and then you can literally go back to that platform, click on hot leads, and bring all the list of people, and you can reopen conversations with them if they've gone quiet. And the follow up on this game is where you'll get the deals. So really, really important that that you do tag it up as well. And obviously Pepper's got like 4 or 5 different videos when you download the software to be able to understand how it fully works. So really cool tool. Did want to go over that again. I know I have done a video on it, but I think it's just super important to get this prospecting going on autopilot around everything else that we've done. So what I then want to do is I know a lot of these kind of sessions, we look at strategy, and we look at you know, different ways and things we can do, and we'll kind of have a look at that now. But what I want to do is I want you to have a 30-day plan, and I firmly believe if you follow this 30-day plan to the letter of the law for the next 30 days, you will pick up a minimum of 2 to 3 deals, no questions asked. And then the Brucey bonus of this training session is I'm going to then show you how, between us all, we're going to raise £1 million over the next 30 days in investment money. And then we can put 2 and 2 together. So if you are finding plenty of deals, you can still, you know, pull in all the properties, because you'll have enough. So the Luke Stays marketing posts, that is a brand builder. Don't really expect much engagement from them. I think organic stuff is very much just putting it out there, letting people know what you're doing. You'll get a bit of engagement. Some posts will get nothing, some posts will get a few. But the idea is you just kind of filling that feed out, so that, you know, when, say, Pepper is running in the background and you do friend request someone, and then they go and have a look at your profile, they can see that, all right, yeah, okay, that makes sense. They're in that property space. I can see what they're doing. Marketing looks good. It looks professional. Copy looks great, etc., etc. So make sure that you post every single day your marketing post. We are putting them into the Slack channel as well as onto Kajabi. So you've got both areas to go and get them. We just want to make it as easy as possible for you to post them. I know I can see Neely has crept into the room, and if I know she has previously asked in the Coffee House channel for any either feedback or anything that you specifically would like to write about. I'm going to come on the investment module at the end, which is kind of why Neely's joining us, because I want her to start writing a bit more investment stuff out based on the plan that I've got for these posts as well, to be able to then not only try and find deals, but help you find investment as well. But the first thing, or the only thing that we need you to do, is literally pick that post up every day and post it. on any of your social media channels. Number 2, run pepper every day. We've kind of spoke about that earlier, and you know, the power of that. If you're adding, you know, 10, 15 people a day to your profile who are the right people, i.e. landlords, or if you wanted to go into, you know, say you want to attract more guests to your properties, you might go and run a guest type operation, or, you know, you can choose however you want to set it up. You just got to think about, where's your avatar hanging out? What group do they hang out in? And then you'll go join that group, get in, and it'll just prospect the members of that group. I think you should be spending a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes each day searching Facebook groups, marketplace, and having a real good look around for properties. There's plenty of, again, you got to think about, where are people posting, you know, potential rentals, where are people posting potential deals. So those are the types of groups you want to have a little scan over, and you can either do it by just clicking the magnifying glass and searching keywords, or you can just quickly have a little look through, and then anything that you comment on, you can then obviously go into a messenger conversation to try and see if you can take it further. Now, the great thing about Facebook and the algorithms is, if you start commenting and liking, let's say, adverts for 3-bed properties, or people stating that they've got property to rent, then Facebook will start to show you more of that type of content from any of the groups that you're in, or any of the people that you're connected with that are starting to shout about, oh, I've got this property to rent, or you know, I've got this property for sale. If you start liking and commenting that type of stuff, your feed will start to get more and more full of that type of stuff, and it makes your job even easier, because then you're not having to go and really search in groups. It'll just literally be on your feed when you log in. But you've got to let the algorithm know that that's what you're mainly interested in on Facebook. Obviously, if you're you know, sort of consuming content, which you know, we don't want to be doing, we want to be creating the content. But if you're consuming content and getting involved in, you know, conversations about, I don't know, the local car boot sale, then naturally your feed's going to start getting fed car boot sale stuff, and that's not what we want. You know, this is a marketing platform, it's a tool, it's a prospecting tool, and we've got to start viewing it that way. So 30-45 minutes on the groups. Now, for quite a few of you, well, actually, I'll come on the end. It's in the efficiency bit. I want you to post a minimum of 2 call-out posts in relevant groups. So again, where does your avatar hang out? What I mean by that is, if, say, in the in that landlord group, so in fact, I'll show you whilst we're here. So so if we go to a landlord group, or any group for that matter, I think this is my group, but I'll be able to show you anyway. So what you want to do is go create post, and a call out post. Effectively, we're going fishing. So all we're doing is just dropping some bait in the water, and we're waiting for the landlords to bite. So effectively, anybody got a 3-bed house to rent in whatever, Bath. Put it in nice little purple. That is basically going fishing. So all we're going to do is drop that in one group where you feel like there might be some landlords. Drop it in another group, and the other group, you might change 3-bed house to 2-bed flat, and you might change the location. Doesn't really matter. What basically happens there is they then will be like, yeah, I've got one. Could be agents, could be direct. You might even want to be any specific, any landlords got a 3-bed house. Agents, don't bother. You know, you can call out, you know, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with singling out exactly what you want. It's better than, you know, sifting through the shit. If you don't want to speak to agents, then, you know, clearly tell them, don't bother. It'll put them off. You know, so any landlords, whatever, do that in 2 groups every single day. And I guarantee you will start to get people commenting and offering you stock. Okay. Very, very, very simple and easy to do. All of this is really just application. You can do this. The ideal time for posting, it used to be kind of 11 till about 12:30, basically when people are sick of their morning shift at work and then they're going on lunch. And then obviously later on at night, post sort of kids' bath time, 6:30 till 8:30. Now, the algorithms have changed slightly. So I know that if that's when you first post, the quicker it gets picked up with engagement, the more it will then start to push it to other people. So you might post it at 11:30, but then someone might not actually see it till 6 because they might not have opened it up to them till 6. But the first batch of people, you want to try and get it going in those peak times so it becomes like a popular post. All these channels right now are starting to copy TikTok's algorithm. They're totally rewording the way that their algorithms used to work. So the old algorithms of Facebook and Instagram was very much on a friendship connection basis. So basically, what do you and your friends have in common? And then we'll show you that type of stuff. Now, TikTok has changed the game, and they're basically showing people what they're interested in that very moment. So, I don't know whether anyone has spent much time on TikTok, but if you start flicking through and you start watching a couple of football videos, naturally you'll start getting loads more football videos. If then all of a sudden a fishing video catches your eye and you start watching some fishing videos, you'll get a bit more football, but then you'll start to get probably more fishing. And that's how the algorithms are starting to work. And that Facebook and Instagram are changing them as well to now base it on interests rather than what your connections are and what your friends are interested in. So we need to, that's why I was saying before, if you go and comment on a few posts of properties for sale or properties for rent or deals or whatever, naturally your feed will start showing you more because Facebook then thinks, oh, you're interested in that. So we'll show you more of that. All you got to do is look at your Instagram feed in your search and just it tells you basically what type of person you are, because that shows you what you tend to look at and the images that you tend to like. So it's no different. But call out posts in the relevant groups where your avatar hangs out every single day, and do that over a 30-day period. That's 60 posts. If you don't get at least 1 or 2 deals just from those posts, I will be like massively surprised. So just if you find that you're posting those and you're not getting engagement in that group, maybe after 2 or 3 days of posting, or that you feel like you're getting the wrong type of engagement, just go and find another group that has a good amount of members in, seems to have the right type of avatars in, i.e. landlords or estate agents or deal sources or, people selling properties, whatever. And then post well. I tell you what groups do work for these, which are a bit off the beaten track, is your your buy sell Newcastle groups, or where basically anyone just chucks a load of basically I've been in my garage, I found some old roller skates, I'm going to whack it on a buy sell group. There's loads of these on Facebook for each locations. So you'll have whatever buy sell Nottingham, and there'll be probably 50, 60, 70,000 people in there, and they're just putting stuff on. But if you do these call out posts, there will be landlords in there, because landlords tend to use these groups to get rid of old furniture, old bits and bobs. So they are in these groups as well. And you will get a bit more success from those groups. The downside of doing them in the landlord groups is once people start commenting, naturally all other people that are doing rent to rent will jump on your profile and probably start messaging that landlord as well and be like, oh, hey, what have you got? What have you got? Show me. But that's just the way that's the game we're in. And that's why we just need to be doing more activity than those, than the rest. Ideally, we want to be calling a minimum of 10 potential property leads. So what I mean by that is either from your call out posts, you get a phone number, you ring them, you have a little look on Rightmove and spot 5 houses, you ring the agents, you go on Open Rent and you ring, maybe 5, you go on Spare Room and you have a, look through some properties there. Spare Room, whilst it's a HMO platform and you might think, oh, well, there's 2 people already living in that house. Most landlords that do HMOs are portfolio landlords. You don't really get into HMOs until you've had a few buy-to-lets and you start to get a bit of history with tenants. So most portfolio landlords hang in Spare Room. You can go and just open conversations with them in spare room, be like, hey, I'm actually not calling you about your room. I'm calling to say, we work with portfolio landlords. I'm assuming you've probably got a portfolio. Have you got anything that you need renting right now? Have you heard how much landlords can make off working with a company like ours? That's the type of spiel that you want to be coming out with when you're getting on these calls in the first few seconds, and ultimately get their interest, hook them into a conversation. So 10 calls minimum per day. I'd like to think we're doing, at least double that, if not more. Talk about working with investors on your profiles. Again, live videos and posts. We're going to put some stuff in the Luke Stays marketing stuff. However, I do still think it is good to talk about this. I know Alicia and Ricardo, you guys have just raised some finance for 5 flats. You don't necessarily need to go into the ins and outs of that. You could just be like, hey, we've just raised 40K from an investor, or however much it was, paying them a real healthy return over this period of time. It's allowed us to do this. And then I would probably be doing that whilst you're setting those properties up in the property. That'd be a great video of like, listen, this is how we got these. We work with an investor, blah, 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 blah. It just shows that, what you're also looking for is not just property, but it's also you're looking for money, and you want to put the two together. And don't be afraid of, posting out there. I mean, you're not gonna like pitch. So it's not like, hey, give me some money. You don't know me. It's just a case of, this is what we do with investors. This is our experience. This is what we can offer investors. And then anybody that is an investor will naturally reach out to you. I don't really think that the whole comment on my post with investors works. I mean, in all fairness, having said that, I think I did see a post that Leah put up a while ago, about a week or two ago, saying that she was looking for some investors. And it did have about 15 comments on. So I guess it just depends on, where you're fishing. But if you actually look at what she's done, she's actually been pitching this type of stuff for quite some time now. So that wasn't just our first post. So she's built that trust up with her audience, showing that she is doing this type of stuff with other people. And naturally, people are very much like, well, if they're doing it, then it must be all right, because that's the way that the world operates. So so we'll be giving you some stuff, but I would encourage you to, do your own stuff as well. So ideally on your profiles several times a week, talk about, what you're doing. In an ideal world, do it every single day, and I guarantee you'll start to raise some money. Discuss a deal with at least one person in your phone book every day. Now, you might not have a deal, but you can always just create a deal. You're analyzing deals left, right, and center. And all we're trying to do here is basically get a bit of an idea of, when I do find a deal, who's got what to help me out, and who is in my phone book. Now, you'll know instantly some sort of people. Now, I have a presentation that we put together, and we just basically send it out. But we, by just speaking to somebody in your phone book each and every day about what you're doing, it might even just be a case of you ring an old friend and just say, hey, I haven't spoken to you in ages. What are you up to these days? Naturally, they're going to ask you, unless they're a twat, what are you up to? So it's you lead first. You just call them for a catch up, blah, 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 blah. And then they're going to go, oh, well, what are you up to? Nice to hear from you. What are you doing? And they'll be like, oh, well, I'm at this property thing, and we're doing this and that and the other. And, we're working with investors. We give them 8 to 12% return on their money, depending on what they lend us. And that allows us to, set these properties up, which we then run on Airbnb and blah, blah, blah. All you're doing is telling a story. You just telling the story of what you're doing, and they'll either go, all right, that's cool, see you down the pub, or they might just, not say anything. Or what tends to happen is they don't say anything, but then later on, they might just drop you a text and be like, can you tell me a bit more about the investment side of what you were talking about? So again, if you rang 30 people in your phone book and just had that conversation, or if you feel like you've already got trust with them, start actually discussing deals. Like, hey, I've just come across this deal. I'm just wondering if you could maybe help me out. Do you know anyone? You're not saying, will you, because that puts them into a corner. do you know anyone that might be a good fit for this? I'm looking to raise 10K with a 10% payback over the next 24 months to be able to help me, set up 2, 3, 4 rent units, whatever the story might be. Never say, would you lend me, or would you be interested in? Always just be like, do you know anybody? I'm ringing to see if you could help me out and, give me a favor. And then it doesn't put them in a corner. And then again, if they're interested, they might boldly say, listen, I'm interested in that. Or they might just say, yeah, no worries, I'll ask around for you. And then they might text you later on and just say, could you just give me a bit more information about that? Knowing fine well that it might be for them. So again, one person every day. And then what I would like is to start getting out and about a bit more. I know some of you might be doing this, but I'm not really seeing it on your profiles. But try and attend one online or one in-person networking event at least every week if you can. Now, finding those events might be a bit tricky, but they do happen. The reason for doing this is, you hear it all the time, your network is your net worth. So what I would also do is choose the right events that you're going into, but always be looking at these events to try and find portfolio landlords and find money. And then putting the two together, you can do great things with, but you don't go into these events like a total, douchebag who's just there to pitch. You just go to build relationships, just go to have conversation, get people's phone numbers of people that you actually connect with and actually want to have a coffee with later on. And, and just keep trying to show up to these events. I just think the more you get yourselves out there, what it also does is it builds your confidence for actually getting yourselves out there with prospecting, speaking to estate agents, walking into estate agents, speaking to landlords direct, dealing with portfolio experienced landlords. So it kind of is a two-pronged attack, that one. And, it's something that I think a lot of people probably aren't doing enough of, but at the same time, make sure you're spending your time wisely. I would rather you spend 3 hours prospecting than go and attend a really lame property event that has absolutely no value to you, So you got to make sure you attend the right ones. You also don't need to be attending property networks, which I think a lot of people get sidetracked into. If you think about it, there's probably more opportunity for either investment or portfolio landlords in a paid local network event of high net worth business owners. You might have to pay a couple of grand a year to get into that event, but I guarantee you will get more than £2,000 worth of return out of those type of events with the right type of people. Because naturally, if someone's paying £2,000 to attend a networking event, A, they're going to show up, and B, they're probably going to get involved in whatever it is. And these type of events are very much I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back type events. And that's why people pay to be involved in those type of networks. So you don't always have to be attending an online or a property network. Create a follow-up plan. And this is probably the key to it all. And that's why I kind of mentioned Pepper earlier with the kind of tagging system. So what I will be doing is, and I think there probably is a spreadsheet on Kajabi. I've made that many videos on that thing now, that has this information. So, but even if you can't find one, all you basically need is a spreadsheet that basically says, if you get what I would call a hot conversation opened, if you've got Pepper, you can tag it in Facebook, but you might also have it might be an open rent call. It could be a spare room call, whatever. Name, or date, name, phone number, email address, ideally collect as much data as you can. And then it's just, what the address of the property is, some notes about it. If you've, what the outcome was and what the next follow-up stage or follow-up date is. So, what we're trying to do here is every single day you should be going back into your spreadsheet and just going, right, last week I spoke to them, and them. He hasn't replied to me on Facebook. They haven't replied to me from Open Rent. I need to WhatsApp them. And you're just going back over all the time so that when you actually decide, okay, I'm going to do my whatever 1 or 2, 3 hours of sort of property work, prospecting, ticking all these little levers off that we're going through now, you get to your spreadsheet and it's very easy to just go, need to speak to them, need to speak to them, need to speak to them, need to speak to them. rather than, you know, oh, well, I don't really know. I might have WhatsApped someone ages ago, but can't really remember who they are. Or, you know, I would get as much information as you can, even if you pulled out, you know, their profile URLs, anything that just gets you back into a conversation flow. And just remember, just because someone hasn't replied doesn't mean they're ignoring you. It just means they got busy. And we've all done it where we get busy. We don't reply to somebody, and then you wake up in the middle of the night, you're like, shit, I forgot to reply to them. I'll reply to them now. That happens. Life goes on. We get busy. So always think of that. Don't be afraid to, you know, literally send message after message after message after message, even if you're not getting any replies. I'm a big fan of being persistent. I think persistent wins all the time. And for the viewings you do go on and you do offer on, again, put the link of the property on your spreadsheet, because what you can do is you can click on that link. So if you go back a week and you click on that link and then that property is still advertised, then your easiest message is, hey, you know, it's just Ryan. I viewed your property last week and made you an offer. I can see it's still online. Just seeing how viewings are going with it. And they might be like, oh yeah, I've had a couple more viewings. I'm waiting on this. Next week, you go by, you click on the link again. Oh, boom, it's still there. 4 weeks goes by, property's still for rent. That landlord's going to get more and more motivated to work with you if you keep going back to him saying, I'm still here. I'll still rent it from you. I'll still offer you, you know, what we said. And then that is where you will pick up. I probably secured more deals from my follow-up. In fact, I know I secured more deals from my follow-up than the initial viewing. And what happens is most people go on the initial view and they'll make an offer that gets declined, and that's it. That's their pipeline done. What they'll then do is they'll go and find another deal. They'll go and do another viewing, and they don't actually pick up on all of the properties that have gone by the wayside that they've actually viewed and spent time and built a relationship. But, you know, if you think about it, if you go on even just 20 viewings in a month, and, you know, you offer on 15 of them and you don't get any of them, I'm pretty sure if you just followed up on those 15 that you offered on each and every day for the next 30 days, you would at least get 2 or 3 of those over time, because the landlord's motivation to work with you will change from what it maybe was when you made the offer, especially if that property doesn't rent out. So get a follow-up plan in place and stick to it every day. It might, you know, just go back into it, open the conversations, shut the laptop, go and do what you need to do, come back and pick up the conversations. If there's been replies, same next day, do exactly the same. And it's just about, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, we talked about this in the masterclass up in Newcastle earlier in the year. Like, a lot of the stuff to become very successful is actually very simple. The hard part about it is the consistency and discipline to do the simple stuff every single day. You know, and that's what I'm trying to do here, is just simplify it down to a very simple daily action plan. Like, if you just print this off and you've got your 9 tasks, or put it in a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, and just every day make sure that you've completed all 9 tasks before you go to bed, I guarantee you 30 days from now, your business, your life, it's starting to be in a better place. We do it again for another 30 days. And we do it again for another 30 days. After 90 days, it becomes a habit. You'll then not need your spreadsheet. You'll naturally wake up and do it, or you'll naturally do it at 7 o'clock or whatever time that you've got used to doing it. You fall into that disciplined, organized routine. And that's what creates the success. There's no, like, I'm better than you, or I've got a higher IQ level, or, you know, it's just simply doing the shit that needs to get done every day to move the ball forward. And if you do it, you'll move forward. The problem is, most people, and, you know, and put your hand up if you want, but I'd imagine most of you have gone through these 9 points and thought, yeah, I don't really like doing one of them, so I'm maybe just not going to do that. But I like doing the other ones. That sounds all right, so I'll maybe do those ones. And that's the problem, right? Is we'll always do the stuff that we want to do, but unfortunately, it's more often than not, it's the shit that we don't want to do that actually moves the needle the most. So, you know, for me, if I was looking at this, I would be like, call 10 people a day. Yeah, I really can't be asked to speak to 10 people a day. You know, that's fine. That'll take me 2 minutes to do. That'll take me 1 minute. That'll take me 1 minute. do a live video. I remember at the beginning, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do a live video. Can't do a live video on social media. All my friends will talk about me and wind me up about it. But that's the stuff that you got to do. You got to push through the barriers. But if you just do the simple things every single day, the next 30 days, next 60 days, next 90 days, before you know it, a year's gone by, your life's in a total different place. And that's what I'm trying to do, is just give us a very simple plan that works for me. This is pretty much just what I did on a daily basis for quite a consistent period of time. I obviously have my team now do all of this on a daily basis. So we've just leveraged the amount of people doing it. But you will get the results. Any questions on that side of things before we move on? I mean, it is pretty straightforward. But if there are any questions, just let me know. And if not, we will jump into, so I'm going to get involved in this as well. And I think between us, we can raise over $1 million in the next 30 days. So we're all going to have to, we're all going to have to obviously try hard, but it's all about getting out there. And I'm going to go through the key points that will get us to where we need to be. So what I want to do is, every time you raise a bit of money, doesn't matter if you've got deals for this money to go into, right? That's not the point of this. What we're doing is we're just wanting basically people to say, I've got 200 grand, I've got 50 grand, I've got 10 grand, I've got 5 grand. Okay. So what we want to do is I want you to shout it out into the Slack channel. I want you to tell, right, we've just raised 75 grand and I'm going to total it all up. And 30 days from now, we're gonna see where we land, and the target is 1 million. If we don't get there, we'll just nearly said she'll top the pot up to 1 million from all of our book sales. So, jumping ahead of myself. Right. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to create an investor database. You need to create an investor database. We're all going to have different databases. I've already got one because I've been building this thing for years. So, we did the Dubai deal sourcing thing a couple of months ago, new idea. And, instantly I've got a WhatsApp group with 100 odd people in there. We've got an email database of, over 10,000 that we can reach out to. I've already got that database, but that database for me isn't qualified enough to know exactly how much I've got within that database. I know there's money in there. I just don't know how much yet, because I've missed a few fundamental, well, not missed, but like not really narrowed it down to this strategy here that I've kind of put together that I want us to work on, which I know will get us where we need to be. So first and foremost, you need to create a database. Now you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to create a database? Well, just bring it back to what we've just been talking about, where if you start posting on social media, oh, we've been raising money, we've been working with people, this is what we do. Every now and then, so it's the 80-20 rule, 80% of your posts are just adding value and sharing what you're doing. And then 20% of those posts can be a direct pitch. So you might go, talk about your stories, talk about your investments, talk about, whatever, the returns for investors, what you're looking for. But then every now and then you go, I've got a deal, I need 10K. This is what I'm going to give anybody interested. And then from those interests, you're going to then go through the next stage, but they then go into your database. So what you then need is name, email, phone number, get them on a database. Just be a simple spreadsheet if you want. If you want to get fancy, you can put it into a CRM system. We use ActiveCampaign. And then as you build that database, you definitely want to do that. But we're going to create this investor database. FYI, what we are also doing, just while we're on this, we are, as a master, as the master brand of the franchise, we are creating a funnel, which is going to actually add new investors into the database and get them to raise their hand and pledge funds. And then we will have those funds for the franchisees to use as well. So we're going to be, trying to we're trying to support you from all different angles that we possibly can, whether it's deals or funding. And the more we do, the more we and the more we come together with these ideas, it'll benefit everybody in the long run. So, but in the main, it's important that you're doing it on your own as well. You should never rely on somebody else to achieve your goals. You should always, just count that as kind of the bonus traffic. And together, we're going to need help to raise $1 million. So number one, start creating your investor database. So you basically just want hand raises of, yes, I'm interested. I might be interested. Can you send me a bit more information about that deal, et cetera, et cetera. As I said earlier, you don't need a deal to be able to get a hand raise. All right, just create a deal. You're all exploring deals all day long. Create a deal, post it on Facebook, see what the interest is. Worst case scenario, someone says, I've got 10 grand, I'm ready to go. And you say, I'm really sorry, but we lost that deal. All right. But now they've got 10 grand. Now they know that you go find another deal. You just say, I'll find you another deal, so for them invested. So that's part number one. What we then want to do is actually get them to sign up and pledge funds. Okay. So this is all about just getting a signature and a commitment. And this is the bit that I have only been doing recently. And this is how I'm kind of going to approach everything going forward with investors, because I have had a few who are like, yeah, I'll give you some, but I think that the signature part of this is the commitment part. So I created, and I'll pop this in the Kajabi platform under the video with almost like the show notes. So investment contracts. So I've created this for us as a brand. The only thing you might want to do is just change here between, you might just want to add in, your company name, trading as Luke Stays. So this is just very simply, this agreement's made between company and whoever it is. The investor agrees that they have the funds and are willing to invest. They'll enter the amount of money in there. The investor agrees that they are a sophisticated investor. We need to tick that box for FCA compliance. Please tick below the type of contracts that you'd be interested in. Now, naturally, I'll set this up on hello sign, so I will have this automated. But whether you want to do that or not, it's up to you. So I'll put a box here, a box here, a box here, a box here. So I'm just basically trying to find out what they're interested in, whether it's UK assets only, whether it's rental arbitrage deals, whether it's furniture loans, whether it's any other unsecured opportunities. There's plenty of stuff that businesses always need, and people might be willing to just lend money for an interest. It's agreed that the investor will pledge these funds today to the company for a period of up to 6 months and will commit to a contract that suits the investor's risk profile when presented with the right opportunity. So we're not we're not backing them into a corner here. We're just saying when the right opportunity comes along, you're saying you'll invest within the 6 month period. The contract will roll over for a further 6 months unless notified 30 days before the end of the 6 month period. The company agrees to issue a loan note agreement or investment contract for any deals undertaken between two parties. So that shows them that this is just a bit of a loose agreement, and we'll issue you with a further agreement for anything that we actually commit to. And again, the investor agrees that funds deployed are at their own risk and full due diligence has been undertaken. Name, signed, dated, blah, blah, blah. So the idea of that is to basically just get that commitment from them. And that for me is the part that then becomes, makes it real. And they then will in the back of their head be like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this with that person. I've kind of agreed that. So, and then what we want to do is we want to be, when we're signing people up for the commitment, we want to be telling them that we do also have a database of sophisticated investors who've also signed the same contract. So whenever we do issue an investment opportunity, we ask you to act quickly, because we are going to be dishing it out to our whole database, and it is very much a first come first served basis. Now, by doing that, what you're doing is you're creating the urgency that if they've got money sat around like I've got money sat around at the minute. I've remortgaged 4 houses that were on BRRs, and we've got that money out, and obviously business profits and things like that. I've got a bit of money sat around at the minute. It's frustrating the hell out of me. I want it out my bank account because it's losing money in my bank account. And when you get to be a sophisticated investor, when you have a bit of excess cash kicking around, and I guarantee you have plenty of people in your phone book that have, or know people that have plenty of cash kicking around. They want it out their bank. So if they then get an opportunity that looks secure, you've built the trust with them, you've been over everything, they've signed a contract, they're willing to go, and they know what the return's going to be, they're going to be like, I'm in, sign me up, let's go. And they don't mess around, these type of people either. Very much you kind of get all the fluffy stuff out the front end, and then when the deals come, they know exactly what it is. That's like, right, straight in. So that's where this kind of regular marketing about the deals and about the trust comes into play. Getting hot in here. So what you want to be doing is regularly marketing about deals, about your business, about previous deals, about client wins, and just making sure that these investors on your database are getting regular contact. We're obviously doing this on behalf of the franchise with our database and the investor leads that we'll get in from the paid advertising and things like that. But, I would encourage you to start building your own databases. I actually think Active Campaign is free until you've got 1,000 people on your database. So you can use that tool to actually market properly, send out regular emails to your list, make them look nice with templates and logos and all that sort of stuff. And, give that professional vibe. Obviously, all the logos and everything are within the Kajabi platform for you to download. If you need anything else, again, use the Slack channel, speak to Roberto. He'll design something up for you. This is where you've got to kind of leverage, the team that are within the franchise behind the scenes. But market regularly about your business, about trust. It could be deals we've done. It can be deals you've done personally. At the end of the day, we're all one big company here. So you can actually leverage stuff we've done and, push that out to your investors. I can give you plenty of stories, and Neely and I are going to be knocking some of this type of stuff up anyway for you to issue out. Then obviously we send them the deals once we've got them to invest in. We've already told them it's a first come, first served basis. And if you've done that bit properly here at the early stage, then we will get within probably the first 2 hours of sending an email out to a list of 10 or 20 people, you will get at least one person saying, I'll have that deal. And then it's a case of how you then get it all contracted, which again we'll help you with. I've got specific loan note agreements that I've paid thousands of pounds for, to be able to work with investors on these type of agreements. I've got also intercreditor agreements. I've got them as well. Again, I've paid thousands for them. So it just depends on the type of deal and how you're trying to structure it as to what the security is and things like that. But we get them signed, and then obviously you get the money in the bank, and then obviously you commit to your deal, and we go forward. Another few ways that you can kind of build that investor database is kind of run one-to-many webinars. So again, if you're doing enough marketing on your profiles, if you're talking about investment enough, and maybe talking about it in certain groups, then you might actually arrange a webinar and just be like, listen, we're raising whatever money, we've got a target, and because we've got loads of deals, so I'm going to show you how we do it, how it's secured, answer any questions you've got. And sometimes just hosting an event, it just gets more people on that database. You'll get some people, I'll attend that event. They go on your database, you get them qualified with the contract, and then you'll have a different database for those that are qualified to those that just raise their hands. And then you've got to be sort of saying, to get off that database and get onto this one where you get the deals, you need to actually fill that contract in and pledge your funds. And then what you want to do is have a spreadsheet of, right, Joe's going to give me 50 grand, Mark's going to give me 100 grand, whatever, Kelly's going to give me 200 grand. So you know how much money you've roughly got. This will then not only probably open up be rental arbitrage or furniture finance, you might start thinking, shit, I've got like £250,000 here raised. What if I actually went and found a BRR deal and started building my own assets up with that money? You know, I mean, I very, very rarely now I use my own money to buy assets. I did at the beginning and I spun the BRR stuff, but now I pretty much use every single penny, including refurb costs. I use other people's money, you know, in the main, and it just allows you to scale so much quicker. So, you know, you might run one too many webinars and newsletters. Again, we'll kind of discuss this on our marketing call yesterday about what we're going to do as a master brand. But once you've got a database knocked up, and again, use the graphic designers, we can knock you up templates, and then, you know, you can write your own newsletters. It has to be this new word that I've got, edutaining, where basically it's educational, but it's entertaining at the same time. You don't just want it to be boring and dull. You want to be able to, you know, educate them on how it works, how the strategy works, but also be a bit entertaining with the content as well. That's kind of the best form of marketing. And again, it's just a case of keeping you in that investor's sort of forefront, in the spotlight, because if they are looking to invest, then you have to keep them on the hook and you've got to get them deals. You know, I had a guy pledge 100K over the weekend. I know he's got 300, but he said we'll start with 100. But I know if I don't get that 100 spent in probably the next 7 to 10 days, he's probably going to start thinking about investing somewhere else. You know, naturally he's in that mindset now. He's got this money, he wants it out of his bank, and they want to get involved in property. They've not done it before. So, you know, I've worked on those trust signals. I've got the contract signed. I've done everything by this plan. He's there. But just now I need to find the deal to get him over the line and get him started. If not, I know he'll go away. But, you know, we'll put him in the pool, so he'll keep getting all the stuff. You know, he's in the WhatsApp groups of the Dubai deals. He's here, he's there. So, you know, he's floating around our stuff all the time, and we're keeping touch points. If we just sign him up and then don't contact them until 4 weeks down the line, they'll be like, hey, I've got a deal. They'll be like, fuck you, I haven't spoken to you for 4 weeks. You know, and I'm not going to, you lose that trust and you lose that momentum with those investors. So make sure that you're constantly working your database of investors, and you will get there. And then, as I said earlier, in the Slack channel, whenever you do find some money and you've got the contract signed, just post it in there as a result, and then, you know, it's a win. It's, you know, these, you'll see it on my marketing, and you know, we do it with you guys, and we do it with bookings, we do it with you know, anything that is success stories, client wins, we post it out on, because then other people are like, oh, well, they've done it, so I can do it, or they're doing it, so maybe I should do it. And that's all that is. It's that social proof. So you know, posting the Slack channel, you know, if we can actually, you know, in 30 days time, once we've raised over $1 million between us, we can do a huge post on that as a Luke Stays brand, which benefits us all. And then people will be like, wow, they've just raised $1 million in 30 days. Like, I need to get involved in that. I've got money. You know, so again, and then everyone can share the posts on their profiles, everyone can do videos about it. You know, the whole thing is more about, you know, if you think about this, right? So assuming you've got 5,000 people added as friends on your profile, and that's what you should have. You should have 5,000 people who are your ideal avatar, not your friends, you know, your brother, your sister, you know, their point, unless they're going to give you money or they're going to somehow rent you a property or sell you a property, they don't need to be on your Facebook. Okay, you need 5,000 landlords, estate agents, investors, anybody that is going to basically help you move forward. So assuming that you have 5,000, Facebook's marketing reach at the minute is about 2%. So you put a post up about investing, 250 people are going to see that post, roughly, if that. Now, if we have 10 of us posting the same post, then all of a sudden we've got 2,500 people seeing that post. And then that's what I'm talking about this whole like brand and why the franchise works and why over time it's only going to get better and better and better the more people that we get involved. Because if we're all doing the same activity, then naturally people are going to start going, what is this? What is this company? You know, they keep posting these client wins. They keep showing us about all this money they've just raised. They keep showing us about all these deals that they're setting up all over the world. You know, people naturally are intrigued, and you know, you use your social medias to get attention. The attention we then have to convert into revenue, and there's various, you know, depending on the services, but that all we're doing on social media is just getting attention. You know, you don't actually sell anything on social media, or you don't actually gain anything on social media financially. All we're doing is getting attention on then what we do behind the scenes. And then the conversation leads to the conversion, which then naturally leads to more revenue. You know, it is as simple as that. But if we're not getting the attention on the front end, then we're going to struggle to even get to that conversation point or get to the conversion point, which will ultimately add the revenue. So that's why we want to be shouting about it, and that's why, you know, get them posted in the Slack channel so we can shout about it and obviously achieve it as well, spur everybody on. And for those that haven't you know, listened to this, obviously I'll be telling them too, and I'm sure they will catch up on it, and then we can go from there. Any questions on that? Fairly straightforward, fairly simple. We'll do our bit from the master sort of franchise, and if you guys do your bit from your side, build your own list, get your own funds, you know, host your webinars, put your newsletters out there, and you know, just keep shouting about it. I'm pretty sure we'll all come together and achieve this target. So so what date are we on now? The 20th. So 20th of October. I will be leaving Miami with a massive hangover. No, well, 20th of October, we will, that is the deadline. We'll say 21st. So we'll give us the end of close of business on the 20th of October. And hopefully we'll have smashed this 1 million target. I've already raised 100, so I'll throw that into the top to get us started. So we've got 900,000 to go. Right, final piece. So we've kind of covered 30 days of activity to kind of, you know, 9 simple tasks that need to be done on a daily basis. We have gone over how we're going to raise 1 million between us, and how you're going to, you know, at the end of the day, that isn't just, you know, let's raise 1 million, forget about it. The tools there are something that, again, you should be doing on a daily basis to keep building that investor network, because it doesn't matter how much money you've got or how well your businesses are doing, I guarantee you will run out of money investing in property, whether it's rental arbitrage, whether it's BRR, whether it's development, whatever. You will run out of money, because for one, we always underestimate how much it's going to cost. We always overestimate how much we're going to make, and somewhere down the line you get shafted and you do something wrong. So you will always run out of money, or more to the point, you'll find loads of deals because you're doing your 30-day plan each and every day. Your pipeline's full. That you know, that was my problem. I didn't want to stop. I was like, right, I've run out of money, but I don't want to stop. How can I get more money to settle more units? I went to a credit card first, 0%, and then I started to then leverage my network and start, you know, putting these different types of deals together. You know, at the end of the day, it's not a case of, oh, well, it has to be that way. You know, it's like, how much do I need? How can I pay them back? What time frame is it? What interest would be appealing to somebody? And does it work for everybody? You know, that, so you could say, right, well, there'll be people that you might go to and say, listen, if you lend me 10 grand, I'll pay you back 10% over the next 36 months. So, you know, effectively, you're going to get 10% per year on your money for the next 36 months. That divides down as, I don't know, £307 a month or something like that, right? So I'll pay you back £307 a month for the next 36 months. Now, if you came to me, I'd say no, because like I'm really not interested in getting like what would it be? Nine, well, what's it going to be? It's going to be 3,000 on top. So I'll give you 10, you give me 13 back at the end of 3 years. Like, I know I can make 3 grand a hell of a lot quicker with 10 grand. However, there's plenty of people that don't, and they have the money. There's plenty of people with 10 grand sat in the bank. They don't know how to make it work. They don't want to put it in stocks and shares. They definitely don't want to put it in crypto at the minute. Although some might say that you want to put it in crypto at the minute. But anyway, the idea is that they don't know what to do with the money. And you come along and say, I've got this really cool model, but I need some furniture to be able to do it. This is how we're doing on average. This is how we make money. This is the average, da, 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 da. You know, this is previous deals we've done. You know, this is the brand that we're currently working with. We've got X number of properties worldwide, da, 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 da. And then I go, that's perfect. Like, I was literally just going to leave the 10 grand sat in the bank. So, well, I might as well get an extra 3 grand in 3 years. So that works for some people and it doesn't work for other people. But the idea is you've just got to find out who your investors are and what their appetite is, you know, and what level they're willing to invest at. You might get some guy who goes, listen, I've got 200 grand in the bank. I'm really not bothered what you do with it. Just make sure I get it back and I want this interest rate. You know, so then you go, right, okay, well, I'll figure out how that fits. So, so we've got the investment side of things. Then the last thing is efficiency tools. And, you know, I was talking about the mobile phone earlier, but I think what I want you to do is start getting more efficient, because a lot of people are, you know, I kind of, you know, in the Slack channels, they're kind of like, oh, I'm working night shifts, or I can't make that because I'm at work, or, you know, I've got the kids and things like that. And I get it. You're like life has to go on and we've got to do what we've got to do. But ultimately, what we're trying to build here is, you know, you probably wouldn't be here if you didn't want a different version of the life that you're currently living. I think I'd be right in saying that. So, you know, the idea is you do want probably more time back. You do probably want more financial freedom. You know, you do probably want to be able to, you know, secure, you know, your kids and what have you for further down the line. So, you know, there's many reasons why we're here, but what we don't want to do is become inefficient at what we're doing here just to tick the boxes that aren't working for us, i.e. work, you know, family life as it is right now with limited time, etc., etc. So, you know, it might mean getting up a couple of hours earlier every day. I would always advocate you're better off getting up early than you are saying I'll do a couple of hours at the end of the day, because that doesn't really tend to happen as much as fresh start, first thing you're going to do. All right, it might be a bit painful for the first 5 minutes when you wake up, but once you get into the routine of it, you've done it, bang, you've succeeded, then it doesn't really matter what happens for the rest of the day. And that's why I like sort of the Morning Success Secrets program that I put together. And that's why I liked that kind of whole getting up at 4:35 a.m. because that allowed me to do that. I could then go to work and go, well, do you know what, even if nothing happens this, or I don't do any more property stuff, I've still moved my business forward that day. I've ticked that box and I know I'm on the right track. So what I want you to do, just get a bit more efficient. So at the end of each day, write down the must-do tasks for the next day. You should always be planning 24 hours ahead of what you're doing. It's almost like a brain dump at the end of the day, whether you do it just before you get into bed or you do it as you sat on the couch or later on, whatever you're doing, just when you feel like you've checked out and you before you go into your kind of rest mode, I need to do that tomorrow. I need to do that tomorrow. I need to do that tomorrow. What that actually does is actually motivates you to want to get up and do it. I found that, like, a lot of people say, well, how did you get up at 4:30 or 5 a.m. every day for so long? Basically, I got myself excited about the next day the night before in a weird kind of way. So, you know, I did it this morning. We were on a marketing call yesterday and I remembered something that worked really well for me. And, you know, I kind of started diving into it a bit last night. And I was like so excited to get up this morning and dive into it even further, you know, because I'd wrote down, right, I'm going to watch that video. I'm going to do this. I'm going to build that funnel out. I'm going to, you know, write this copy out, et cetera, et cetera. So that then helps you get up and get going. But write down your tasks each and every day. Write down what's been successful that day. I think it's super important to do these type of things. I know some people think this is kind of wishy-washy stuff, but I think, you know, writing down what has been successful that day is just a good way to finish the day off. Even if you had a really shit day, maybe nothing has gone right, but you'll always be able to find something that has, you know, been successful. Could have just been, got to reply to my Pepper automation, or, it could be secured a deal or landed some funds. It doesn't always have to be the big ticket items. It can be very small ticket items as well. Just write down something that's successful. It just keeps that motivation going. Because more often than not, you're not going to be motivated to do what's necessary. That's life, that is life. It's the discipline, the consistency that'll get you to where you need to be, not the motivation. I actually think motivation comes because of the discipline and the consistency. I don't think it's the other way around. I think I don't think you go to the gym because you're motivated. I think you go to the gym because you're disciplined, and you get more motivated as you start to see the results from the discipline and the consistency of going to the gym. Hopefully that makes sense to me. But I think people have it very much the wrong way around, where they feel like, oh, I have to be motivated to do something first, then I'll take action. I actually think the action leads to the motivation. Or conversely, the inaction leads to the demotivation, because you're not getting the results that you want, because you're not doing the work on a daily basis. Write down your targets, short, medium, and long term. I don't know whether for those that I think I've probably heard the story before, but I know I did a speaking gig middle of last year, and well, and truth be known, I didn't prepare. So like day before, I was like, shit, I need to speak about something. So I came across these 10x planners that I used to write all this stuff down for years. It was a Grant Cardone thing when I was on a mentorship with him, and it was his books. And the top of it was write down your short, medium, long-term goals. So each day I'd write them down. Did it relentlessly for 3 years or so, and then for whatever reason stopped. But I found these planners, and I started to just literally, I thought I'll flick through them. I started flicking through them, and I started reading the goals, and I was like, shit, I've achieved that. And then I was like, shit, I've achieved that as well. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I've done that as well. And it was quite eye-opening, because I remember when I was writing them down, I was like literally only doing it because Grant said I had to do it. It was like, yeah, this is a bit, daft. And there's still some on there that I still haven't achieved, like, buy a jet and, own £100 million worth of property and blah, blah, blah. But there are quite a lot of the big goals at the time when I was writing them that I have, surpassed and definitely ticked off. So it just goes to show you that if you're constantly writing your targets down, then there's a real high chance that you will achieve them, because you're always focused on where you're going. And I think it's really, really important. Write down the daily strategy to achieve those targets. So once you've written the targets, you might then say, okay, well, I need to do these 3 items to get there. I need to do these 3 items to get there. And I need to do these 3 items to get there. You're just constantly reminding yourself of what needs to be done to actually achieve your targets. And I'm talking like 5-10 minutes at the end of each day. This does not need to be essays. It is literally just jotting them down wherever fits. Doesn't matter, iPads, phone notes, doesn't matter. The idea is you're just getting it down and reinforcing the message. And again, write down what you're grateful for. Again, I think this is very much overlooked, seen as a wishy-washy tool, but I think it does just ground you a bit, especially when you are getting a fair bit of success and things can maybe run away. I just think it also just keeps you a bit, motivated, and it just really, I think, makes a difference to who you become as a person. And I think because of that work, you naturally attract a lot more, because you become a better human being. And I think naturally people are attracted to decent human beings, and you're more than likely going to, attract your money, attract your deals, attract your portfolio landlords without even thinking about it. This is a very much it's like meditation, this one. I think it's very, at the time of doing it, you think it's a pointless exercise, but over time, the results compounded of doing it are very, very powerful. And meditation is the same, super efficient. And finally, write down who you've got to reach out. There will always be someone that you have to reach out to tomorrow to close a deal, get a property, get some funds, move your business forward. There has to be somebody that's going to move your business forward, not just you give me mum a ring tomorrow, unless she's going to move my business forward. But, you know, it's very much, you know, write down, right, I need to speak to Joe so-and-so because he's going to move my business forward tomorrow if I get that deal closed, or, you know, if I get that property off him, or I get that 10 grand raised, whatever it might be. So write down who you must reach out to tomorrow, and that'll help. And I don't think did I put it on here? I don't think I did, but I did mention it before about the phone and the notifications. Try it, give it a couple of weeks. What you actually end up having to do is you almost have to readjust people's expectations. So quite often I get a team say to me on Slack, like, oh, can you send me the OTP code for the credit card when they buy stuff on my credit card? And obviously I get the text on my phone, but I don't get any notifications. So I'm like, you're gonna have to ring me, because that's the only thing that does actually notify me on my phone, to then say, I need to send you a one-time password code. And then obviously I'll keep an eye out and I'll send it to you. You know, so it is just sometimes training people how you work. Again, like over the years, I've kind of trained people, like, I don't do email. Like, don't send me an email. I might pick it up twice a week if I'm lucky. So if you want to get in touch with me, pick the phone up, you know, send me a WhatsApp or jump in Slack. They're pretty much my communication methods. Now I get very few emails because people naturally know not to bother me on email because they'll not get a response. So it's just sometimes training people how you work as an individual as well, but it's all for your own efficiency, so you can spend more time doing the things that are actually going to move the needle.